You rise before the sun, punch the clock, shoulder the deadlines, and still feel a cold draft when you cross your own threshold. In those quiet moments, keys jangling, shoes slipping off, you wonder why the house you maintain feels like a hotel where you've overstayed your welcome. You keep telling yourself it's normal to feel lonely in a relationship, that fatigue is the tax a good man pays for love. But what if the very person you're hustling to support is the one quietly chiseling away at your spirit? This isn't melodrama, it's the lived reality of far more men than society is willing to admit. We don't hear about it, not because it's rare, but because male pain is considered unfashionable while female wrongdoing is deemed unthinkable. Philosopher Christina Hoff Sommers spent decades dissecting gender narratives and warned of this selective empathy. A culture that spotlights women's wounds while blurring men's into the background noise. Selective empathy turns male suffering invisible, yet the burden you carry is as tangible as steel. The tightness in your chest, the constant self-doubt, the criticism that masquerades as just being honest. None of that is normal. It can be abuse, even if it never raises a fist. Male-directed abuse rarely advertises itself with broken dishes or shouting matches. Instead, it arrives dressed in endless expectation without thanks, critique without compassion, and control without accountability. Because we're taught that women are inherently nurturing, gentle, morally superior, many men never see the ambush coming. The stereotype itself becomes the camouflage. You might think your professional success inoculates you from victimhood. That status, confidence, or a hefty paycheck proves you're unbreakable. Yet for some women, those trophies are not reasons to love you, they're resources to harvest. An abusive partner doesn't always seek to keep you home. Sometimes she drives you to grind harder, longer, deeper into exhaustion. Not out of admiration, but out of control. The more you produce, the larger the leash she can fasten around your ambition. She may say she loves you, but what she really loves is what you do for her, the serenity purchased by your overwork. Sommers reminds us that genuine gender equity demands we recognize female agency, including agency to harm. Some women weaponize affection, guilt replaces fists, silence stands in for slaps, and society shrugs because female cruelty feels like a narrative glitch. Yet the men living this story know the glitch is real. They wear long hours and silent suffering like medals of honor, believing sacrifice is synonymous with manhood. They don't notice that the woman they're bankrupting themselves for is cashing in on their collapse. The mask of sweetness. We're conditioned to believe women possess an innate softness, a maternal grace that protects those in their orbit. That assumption can hide the sharpest daggers. The most dangerous weapon is the one you never expect, and some women rule through emotional engineering so subtle you doubt your own memory. They belittle, undermine, and critique until you're a shadow of who you were. If your every effort is deemed inadequate, if opening up is labeled weakness, if your requests for mutual respect are reframed as selfishness, pause. That isn't feedback, it's conditioning designed to erode your core. Sommers points out that modern gender politics often refuses to acknowledge female wrongdoing. While men's aggression is dissected and condemned, women's manipulation is dismissed, romanticized, or even rewarded. You've seen it. The wife who publicly mocks her husband, withholds affection until he caves, polices his spending while torching her own credit card. Culture laughs, calling her strong-willed. No, she's abusive. Manipulative partners don't need to barricade you indoors. They drain your emotional reserves until you're too depleted to seek help. They rewrite arguments, question your sanity, and make affection conditional upon your compliance. The kinder you are, the harsher the training becomes. You're taught to meet criticism with apology, coldness with gifts, distance with desperate pursuit. She may never strike you, but she claims your confidence, your time, your autonomy, daily while calling it love. Abuse buried in routine is the hardest to name, especially in a society indifferent to men's well-being. If you tiptoe around your own living room, that's instability, not peace. If pain is dismissed and labor is demanded, that's exploitation, not partnership. Being used isn't proof of devotion, it's evidence of ownership. You're not her handyman bank account or emotional dump site, you're a human being who deserves dignity. The illusion of partnership. Many men believe they're in a shared venture, a home, bills, maybe children, and endless overtime to keep the lights on. But some relationships are transactions forged without your consent. A partner can morph into a puppeteer, tugging the strings of your wallet, your calendar, your emotional bandwidth, while framing it all as empowerment. Sommers warned of a culture that burdens men with limitless responsibility, yet shields women from scrutiny. If you're hemorrhaging health, dreams, and peace, while she risks nothing, you're trapped in a contract you never negotiated. She demands more income, more housework, more emotional presence, but offers no reciprocity. You start believing exhaustion signifies love, burnout equals masculinity, and suffering is loyalty's badge. But real love refreshes both people. If only one thrives, call it what it is, parasitism. Remember who you were before every moment required her permission, before guilt eclipsed rest, before silence masqueraded as harmony. Someday, when your body buckles and your wallet runs dry, will she honor your sacrifice? Or will she discard you like a tool past its warranty? Abusive women view men as utilities, functioning until they don't. That's why you must audit your life now, because your well-being counts. Control in the name of love. Love should expand freedom, yet toxic affection tightens like a collar. The instant you set boundaries, her warmth turns to ice. She doesn't need volume, she needs leverage. Selective affection, conditional praise, psychological gymnastics, these are her instruments. She'll say, "I just want what's best for us. You're the one ruining everything." Requests multiply until your entire existence orbits her moods. Sommers criticize the asymmetry that judges men's behavior morally, but excuses women's through feelings or trauma. If a man isolated, shamed, or financially pinched his partner, society would roar. When a woman does it, we whisper, "She's complex." Match her actions to her gender-swapped equivalent, and the abuse becomes undeniable. Yet cultural scripts grant her plausible innocence. If you chase her approval like oxygen, that's not romance, it's regime. She manipulates your duty, your dread of conflict, and society's disbelief. Naming the abuse is terrifying, but it's step one toward freedom. Maybe these patterns feel familiar, but another voice inside insists you're fine, strong, stoic, unbreakable. That voice is conditioning, not courage. Sommers exposed a system that criminalizes male missteps while pardoning female malice. Speak up and you risk ridicule. Defend yourself and you may be branded the abuser. Look around. Countless men have lost homes, careers, even children, because a partner weaponized the system. If your partner threatens, "Leave and you'll never see the kids," that's not drama, it's psychological warfare. Downplaying your suffering to survive means the situation is already intolerable. The hidden war on your identity. Abusive partners aim deeper than your schedule or paycheck. They target who you are. They dismantle independence, mock your passions, and sow doubt until obedience replaces self-respect. You calibrate every word, scan every facial twitch, play peacemaker in a home that should be your refuge. Sommers observed that stripping men of the right to name their pain turns relationships into one-way servitude. She may never have loved the real you, only the version that worked without rest, paid without question, apologized without fault. Waiting for her to change keeps you frozen, Awareness and action are the change you control. A man who forgets his worth is easy to direct. Reclaiming yourself. If you're still reading, some part of you already recognizes the truth. You're giving endlessly and still being told it's not enough. Your relationship feels like a job without salary, praise, or vacation. Being a man does not equal enduring disrespect, sacrificing sanity, or remaining in a bond that humiliates you. Ask the questions you've dodged. Why am I lonely in my own house? Why do I feel guilty asking to rest? Why do I fear speaking honestly? Those cracks will widen, letting reality flood in. You must declare enough. Enough manipulation, guilt, emotional starvation. Leaving may cost you friends, money, or familiar routines, but you'll finally be building a life that feeds you. There is honor in safeguarding your soul, even if the world calls it selfish. You are not weak, broken, or alone. You are a man worthy of respect, love, and freedom. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, your story matters, and the rewrite starts today.